Good morning, class. This is the course we introduced earlier, the project planning and financial analysis. We introduced project planning aspect by discussing some key areas, especially relating to project cycle and management. We also talk about feasibility and viability studies. And briefly, we discuss issues related to failed projects or abandoned projects in Nigeria. If you can remember, Nigeria is reported to be a leading country in terms of abandoned projects, where we have about 56,000 abandoned projects all over the country. So, on the average, almost every street of our local governments have one abandoned project or the other. So today we will look into project planning and we can easily fish out the rationale uh, behind the cause and also know the basis of abandoned project is simply lack of project planning. Uh, that the course is talking about project planning and scheduling generally. Well, we don't have to waste much time about defining projects, which we earlier emphasized that it's talking about a kind of planning resources to achieve, to develop facilities to produce goods and services over time, and it involves a lot of things, especially identifying tasks, allocating resources, and creating roadmap for the project execution itself. Uh, project planning process involves five key issues: initiation, planning, execution, monitoring, and control, and closing. These are the areas we are going to discuss in this lecture. And then starting with the initiation, this we have to define the project objectives and scope, identify stakeholders and their expectations, conduct feasibility study, and then create a project charter. The items you see in red needs further explanation. For example, project charter we mentioned includes timeline, goal statement, business case, problem statement, and scope, as well as the project team. Right. Uh, the project stakeholders that we mentioned earlier involved a number of groups: the shareholders, customers, business partners, project team, senior management, competitors, suppliers, regulatory bodies. If you neglect any stakeholder, no matter how small is he, the project is likely going to have an issue. And then we made mention of project scope. Scope involves a lot of things. The project background itself, the project detail objectives, project deliverables, project justification, milestone, and constraints must be detailed. And then the second aspect of project planning is the planning step. You have to develop project plan, create work breakdown structure WBS, develop a project schedule, allocate resources, human resources, financial resources, and material resources, identify and assess the risks involved, as well as communication plan. Well, we said earlier, anything in red is subject to further explanation, and in the following slides, we are going to see the detail. We mentioned a project schedule. We have a template, and this template is showing that different aspects of the projects over a period of time uh, are mapped out, well planned for us to follow. And then the third aspect is our project planning process. Or project planning process is execution. And in this stage, we have to assign tasks and responsibilities, monitor project progress, manage project resources, implement quality control measures. The fourth aspect is project planning process. This includes monitoring and control, track project performance over time against the plan, identify and address deviations, if any, from the plan, and implement corrective outcomes, creative corrective outcomes. And the last aspect is project planning process is closing. We have to now evaluate project performance, distribute final reports, obtain formal project acceptance. You can study the errors. Project planning is something to do with input and output. When you put input and get output, you have to evaluate whether the output is as expected. The aspect of resource allocation earlier mentioned as part of the syllabus includes human resources, that is the personnel required to complete project tasks, material resource, physical items such as equipment, materials, and tools, as well as financial resources, the money, budget, and funding needed for project activities at all steps. Then the aspect of risk management. Risk management involves identifying, assessing, and responding to potential project risks. Effective risk management helps minimize the impact of adverse events in the project. Risk management projects involve risk identification itself, risk assessment, risk response planning, as well as risk monitoring and control. Different type of risks we shall see. We have internal risks and external risks, and the response for you can avoid the risks by terminating or changing the project plan altogether. You can mitigate, especially treat reduce the likelihood or impact of the role of the risk by taking measures. You can transfer the risks to a third party by insurance, by means of insurance, and alternatively, you can accept the risks, acknowledge the risks, and develop contingency plan for it and go ahead. In conclusion, this is the brief aspect we need to know about project planning. The other detailed issues we have escaped, like work break down, is going to serve as our brainstorming aspect of this lesson. Uh, I call on you to drop any question, and we shall deliberate it here. Thank